China's leadership is reacting to the Trump administration's latest tariff moves on technology. Let's bring in Eunice Yoon from Beijing. Eunice, good afternoon.
Thanks, Kelly. Well, you know, China messages indirectly as well. And just in the past hour, a social media account that is linked to Chinese state TV and is often followed here for its messaging on U.S.-China trade issues just posted. And it said that China needs to see real action from the U.S. before China agrees to negotiations. It also said that ignoring President Trump's tariff increases doesn't mean that China won't take other countermeasures. What's interesting is that the same account over the weekend had suggested what the next targets could be. The blogger had hinted that the Chinese people could reject American IP and American brands, and it said that it noticed that Walt Disney and Comcast, which owns CNBC, quote, have development and production businesses, theme parks, and consumer goods here. It also mentioned Sony, Paramount Global, as well as Netflix. Now, officially, the Chinese government over the weekend had also acknowledged the tariff exemptions by the Trump administration, calling them a small step and saying that China is, quote, evaluating the impact. State media had described the exemptions as a U.S. retreat. But today, the Chinese government doubled down, saying that the U.S. needed to change its ways and abolish what it described as wrongful actions about the tariffs. So the messaging otherwise, guys, has been that China really needs to support its exporters and that is paramount. And we see President Xi Jinping currently in Southeast Asia on a tour there. He's in Vietnam. The expectation is that he's going to try to expand those markets for Chinese exporters. Also, a lot of the private sector, some of the big check names, such as PDD, so that's, of course, the owner of Temu, and then TikTok owners ByteDance, Baidu, all of them joined Alibaba and JD to try to find ways to help Chinese exporters redirect their products into the Chinese market. Guys?
Eunice, what are you seeing in terms of what might be described as soft power from the U.S.? You described the situation with Disney. Obviously, our parent company, Comcast, owns Universal. Big operation there. We obviously send a lot of content to China. But you also hear anecdotally that less people are walking into McDonald's, less people are walking into a Starbucks and choosing a local retailer, for example, that the U.S. brands don't necessarily have the same kind of halo that they had before. I don't know if that's fully a function of what's happened in the last 2 weeks around tariffs. It feels like something that's actually been sort of a slow roll for at least several months, if not longer.
Yeah, it has been a slow roll. I mean, still, there are people who are big fans of American brands. So there are people who are like massive, like fanatics, really, over, say, McDonald's, for example. You have those people. But more and more, you do see that it's politically incorrect to embrace an American brand. So there are small decisions. Some people are saying, well, I don't really need an Apple iPhone. It really hasn't upgraded its technology that much. So maybe I'm going to try the Huawei phone this time round. A lot of my friends think that that's kind of the right thing to do, for example. So there are those decisions that are being made. And then more and more, what's interesting about this latest blogger's suggestion is that the way it's being framed is that this isn't a Chinese government decision, that they're saying that this is the Chinese people's decision, that the Chinese people don't want to watch American films, that the Chinese people don't want to go after and embrace American brands. Whether or not that's true or not is another question altogether, but that suggests that, once the Chinese government starts pulling that line, then a lot of times companies start to follow.